Okay, let's see what we have. Electrolyze on the play with Path and Snapcaster. Fairly good hand. Probably getting a Hallowed Fountain. Ooh, Goblin Guide. So I'll probably just path this. So if I get a plains, path it, he'll be up to he'll be ramped, but that generally doesn't matter a huge deal compared to just preserving our life total. And we don't really need more lands, so we fetch before this reveals because we want to draw a non-land card. And reveal Jataxian Probe. Okay. Well, we don't want to take damage, so I think I'll just get an Island Probe. Here, and then next turn we can have Path up, so good to see what's up. Jataxian Probe is proving, I mean, I like Jataxian Probe in pretty much any deck. Knowing their hand is a really powerful effect. So Kiln Fiend's the only creature at this point, and Lightning Bolt's a great draw. Since it's often difficult to know exactly what you're playing against in Modern, Probe has extra value there. Like Stomping Ground Goblin Guide could be like Burn, Zoo, or whatever this deck is. So I looked at our top card. Can't do anything on upkeep. So Remand is a good draw. If there's a mutagenic growth involved, Lightning Bolt is going to be not so good. I think I just leave up Snapcaster Path and see how much he wants to pump into this. That is risky against something like Apostle's Blessing, though, so it's probably just best to path this now. See, this is tricky. If I, not knowing exactly what's in their deck, since so Apostle's Blessing, if we path now, we're gonna die to the Tamir Battle Rage, become events, assuming our opponent has one more way to activate this. On the other hand, Lightning Bolt is bad against Apostle's Blessing and Mutagenic Growth or some other pump, so I think I just Snapcaster now. As it seems like the best play for not dying this next turn, and our hand is good enough that we should be able to deal with things next turn as well, if our opponent did draw another creature. Alright. Excellent. Just gives us plenty of time. We still don't have much pressure, but we have plenty of ways to deal with a creature. We're also pretty close to just killing our opponent outright. We have 5 points of burn and 2 damage a turn. Okay, Goblin Guide. Well, that complicates things a great deal. Remand. Doesn't seem great at the moment. So basically we want to Izzet Charm this or Lightning Bolt this in response to a Become Immense. Okay, Restoration Angel. So we have to shoot this in response to any pump. But definitely not to Mere Battle Rage. So our opponent, let's see what they do. Obviously them doing nothing is going to be very good for us, because then we can point our burn at this on end step, where if it gets pumped it doesn't kill us in the process of getting pumped. Alright, Tamir Battle Rage, like I said, does absolutely nothing. And now we can electrolyze this. And even, or I guess we can't actually leave up Bolt as well, since our mana is a little iffy. We still can actually bolt with Ghost Quarter, but I'd obviously rather not do that. If this has become immense, that's fairly sad. Okay. Worst become immense ever. Keeping a goblin guide. And that's a good draw. So I don't quite have lethal. If I had one more mana, I could blink my Snapcaster with Restoration Angel and double Lightning Bolt. But that's fine because we can just play a slower game and kill this Goblin Guide. Alright, so it's gonna take like something ridiculous for us to die. It would take something ridiculous for us to die if we had absolutely nothing in hand. But based on how great our hand is, we can't possibly die this turn. Well, I mean, possibly we could die, but very unlikely. Alright. Can't quite abuse the probe. So we could dig for lethal with Is It Charm. I kind of like just leaving Restoration Angel up as a blocker, since we're threatening lethal next turn. So I can start by remanding and then Is It Charming anything, but there's nothing. Okay. Alright, so we want as much interaction as possible in the early game, which means no Kiki Jikis for sure. Wall of Omens is fine, probably even good. All this removal we want. Nahiri, Nahiri might just be strictly better than Restoration Angel, since its removal and Restoration Angel isn't a very good blocker for 4 mana against double striking things. Relic is good against Tamir Battle Rage, or Become Immense, not Tamir Battle Rage. Mana Leak is fine since they're usually on such low mana. It's It's usually a hard counter, so I think I'll keep the mana leaks. Anger's not so great, kind of expensive when this matchup's so fast, so I think this is fine. Celestial Purge is obviously not ideal, but still pretty good. And all our cheap removal we want. Alright. Turn 2 Wall of Omens. Unfortunately, no turn 1 removal spell, but can't be too picky. Lightning Bolt, perfect. Let's do that immediately. No point in trying to get value off Goblin Guide, since first of all we don't need it with this hand, and second of all it can be incredibly risky. Here I'll just take 2 to get out Wall of Omens. Wall of Omens is going to be great because our opponent will have to act before they can get through with any creatures, and then we can play our removal or counter spells. I'll pay the mana, since if there's something we need to counter, we can pay 2 here. Yeah, so our opponent can't do anything at the moment. So top deck Goblin Guide means still can't really do anything. Wall of Omens. There's not really any point to leaving up negate right now. Maybe I should have snapcastered Jataxian Probe to try and get Nahiri online and get a clock going. I think, yeah, I probably should have done that. Here a creature would be good for our opponent. Okay, Electrolyze. So we could just wall. I think that's fine. It's gonna take a lot to get through 2 walls. Sure. Dispelling that doesn't really do much. We want to save our Dispel for Tamir Battle Rage or Become Immense. Okay. So we're kind of good card flooding. I think I'll go for the probe. Another become events. Good thing we drew that goblin guide. Or that lightning bolt for the goblin guide. Because that could have been annoying to get rid of. Okay, Swift Spear. Finally some action. So become immense and rush of adrenaline is not enough to kill us, but pushes through a lot of damage, but while leaving the Swift Spear very vulnerable. Alright, walls activate. Activate wall mode. Okay, so wall down. Still no land. So if I just helix this and counter the vines with the spell, I think that's reasonable. Now we're running out of cheap, efficient answers, but we're at a healthy life total. Our opponent is starting to run out of resources. The main issue they have is not enough mana to cast everything, even if they draw a creature. Well, the main issue is no creature, but okay. I think I'm just gonna click on draw step. The Nahiri is not gonna be necessary. So if we click away a goblin guide, and then our opponent draws another goblin guide, that still won't be enough, based on what we know about. So that looks fine to me. So if this gets bolted, could negate it. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Because even no matter what our opponent draws, they can't possibly kill us. Swift Spear comes close with mutagenic growth and Tamir Battle Rage, but we still have Izzet Charm for countering things. So and next turn, of course, we have lethal with Electrolyze. Alright. Well, should be game. Just Electrolyze on upkeep for good mechanics. Nice. Well, that went well. Our opponent didn't nut draw us, so that's basically the hinge of this matchup, is our opponent not completely not drawing us.